Minnesota Vikings superstar edge rusher Danielle Hunter has been a talking point for the better part of a calendar year, where severely underpaid, his 14.4 per year is the greatest value in NFL history. And then he had that tweak in his neck, and unfortunately is a herniated disc, missed the entire season, and really put a damper in his march to 200 sacks. He is still going to break the all-time sacks record. Bruce Smith, watch your ass, by the way. Woo! Love to see it. But it did crop up that after it was announced that he was going to get surgery, of course, Rap Sheet interjecting and editorializing, well, they better give him a big-time contract or the Vikings will have to trade Danielle Hunter. And it smelled, it reeked of agent intervention at that time. But I do think that something is going to get worked out between Danielle and the Vikings. He's been severely underpaid for a long time, and if his neck is good to go and he's going to be back at 100%, I see absolutely zero reason why the Vikings can't freshen up his contract, put some injury clauses in there, protect themselves, as well as reward one of the best edge rushers in the league, if not the best. In fact, the best. I'm just going to say the best. So, Chad Graff over The Athletic. We're not going to read from the article. Go pay for good journalism. Go do that. But he was talking about speculation that if Danielle Hunter and the Vikings can't get it back together, can't find some common ground on a new deal, then the Vikings could potentially look to trade him. And the starting compensation would be 2 first-round picks. And he cited former deals with Khalil Mack and Frank Clark. So 2 ones. It's tempting, but also not all ones are created equal. They certainly are not. So it's a big difference if you're getting 2 ones from, say, Miami. Are you getting the number 3 overall pick and a future 1? Or are you getting 2 ones from the Chiefs, like 32 and 32? 32 and then 31 next year. Nailed it, right? So there's a vast difference between the value of those. So I would understand if the Vikings and Danielle somehow, some way, like can't work out a new deal. I don't necessarily see that happening. I think the Vikings are very highly inclined, especially the way that their pass rush looked this year, to reward Danielle and keep him in-house. But if the poop does hit the fan, and I don't think he'll be traded before the draft. That is for sure. But I think that through March and leading into April, I think the agent and Spielman will have some negotiations. And if things are going bad, then we'll definitely know about it. Again, like we've always said, if you hear about it in the media, then things aren't going bad, because things are going bad because nothing leaks without a reason. Where if things are going swimmingly, why would an agent leak to one of the NFL insiders that, hey, this other side is being unreasonable? No. If things are going well, you hear nothing, goose egg. But once you hear all the leaks, and then you can easily trace back to which side is leaking what, then there's going to be a problem. But I think that this will carry on for after the draft. So then you're looking at just future picks. So 2 firsts, looking at 2022, 2023. So you're really projecting as opposed to knowing exactly where your pick is going to be, as well as down the line. So the Vikings going through this entire draft and then potentially trading Danielle Hunter if they can't work out a deal before the start of the season. And then you're just gambling wherever the hell that pick is going to be. And if the 2021 season, due to impact from COVID-19, is as random as 2020, it is definitely going to be a crapshoot. So I'm not inclined to do that. I think the Vikings will work something out. But you've seen how multiple first-round pick deals for non-quarterbacks have gone down recently. So Jalen Ramsey going from Jacksonville to the Rams, phenomenal deal. Whereas Jamal Adams going from the Jets to the Seahawks, But for Danielle, he's 26 years old. He's in the prime of his career. Yes, coming off of an injury. But if your doctors check him out and he's good to go, we're going to want some pretty significant trade compensation, because this isn't necessarily a spot where you have a ton of leverage, because the Vikings, barring something going completely nuclear in negotiations, could easily just have him back and pay him. Like, this is not a messy divorce like Khalil Mack from the Raiders. This is not Frank Clark and the Seahawks being unable or unwilling to pay him and then sending him to Kansas City. This ain't that situation. So if a team wants Danielle Hunter and he's going to be 100% good to go, it's going to cost you, Chief. And I would prefer if the Vikings did trade him before the draft, because that way you'd have a chance to know exactly where the pick is going to be, as well as plan ahead for the 2021 season. But that would mean that negotiations really have to come to a standstill within the next couple months, the next couple weeks. I don't necessarily see that happening. But say that Danielle's agent comes in and is like, hey, he ain't showing up. He ain't showing up without a new deal, and we want $25 million a year. We want Myles Garrett. We want Joey Bosa money. And then Spielman's like, no. No, like I'm not a big, you signed your contract, so you honor it because your word is your bond. No, not in this league. Not in this league, son. But is he worth $25 million a year, heavily guaranteed? I would say yes, but you'd be very concerned about that neck. But if the Vikings are going to trade him, I want a top 10 pick. I do, because this is not like an extremely top-heavy edge class. Like, there's no Chase Youngs in this class. I like Pay. Rousseau's okay. I really like Aziz. Jason Owe is really intriguing as a physical freak option who didn't have a lot of college production. Kind of sounds familiar. But I would want a top 10 pick to potentially move on a quarterback of the future, because then you can grab your quarterback of the future with the top 10 pick. You can take 14, trade it down, maneuver, get Kwity Paye, potentially try and replace him. It won't be a one-for-one fit for Danielle Hunter right away, but you're already trying to estate plan for life after Danielle Hunter. But that's where it starts and ends for me. You have that top 10 pick and a future first-round pick for Danielle Hunter, but perhaps even more, because if he gets traded after the draft, and we're talking about 2022 on, I want 2 1s and a 2. But it's all speculation at this point. I think that the fact that it's been pretty quiet is a good sign. The fact that we haven't really heard anything channeled through NFL insiders beyond that rap sheet crack back in October, I think that's a good sign. And like we've talked about before, there is a way where Danielle gets taken care of, deservedly so. The market inefficiency of his contract gets readjusted, and the Vikings can still protect themselves. Brzezinski can actually structure a deal where it lowers his 2021 cap hit, and the Vikings are protected through injury clauses and playing time guarantees and all of that stuff. So, yeah, breathe. Husa. With how bad the Vikings pass rush was this year, why would you give away a future first ballot Hall of Famer, a guy that, if he stays healthy the rest of his career, is going to challenge for the all-time sack record, is 26 years old, and wants to be here? Why? Why? And if you did want to get rid of him, why would you settle for anything less than high draft picks? But anyways, your thoughts. Trade compensation, Danielle Hunter, The Athletic. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.